Hello, I'm Dan Ridsdale, Head of TMT at Edison, and today I'm joined by Richard Gibbs, Chief Executive Officer of Filtronic, the leading edge developer of mission critical radio frequency solutions. Richard, many thanks for joining us today. Can you start by discussing the markets in which Filtronic operates and perhaps explain why those markets are attractive to you as a business?
So Filtronic serve three core markets, and we've been associated with those markets for a number of years. And interestingly, all three of those markets have been reasonably robust through the pandemic, and we think they're well positioned to benefit as the pandemic unwinds and the macroeconomic recovery starts. So the first of those vertical markets is public safety communications. This is often known as first responder communications in the US, the P25 network. It's older communications technology. It's robust, reliable, it's loved by the users. We provide a whole suite of subsystem components for that: filters, combiners, amplifiers. And there's a huge installed network across the US and indeed around the world, but the US is the primary market. And during the pandemic, though, some of those upgrade programs have been delayed. Some of the new infrastructure projects have been pushed back. And so we think there's a certain amount of pent-up demand for this, as well as an install base that needs upgrading and further expansion. So we're excited about that opportunity. Our second market, and probably our highest profile one, is actually mobile telecoms infrastructure. And more specifically for us, this is backhaul devices. These are E-band transceivers for the backhaul part of the telecoms network. About 50% of the backhaul is run over RF, over microwave links, the rest being optical fiber and copper wire. So there's a huge market as 5G rollout happens. We believe that is a market that we can grow with that. Estimated growth rates for backhaul, 5G backhaul, about 20% per annum over the next 24 months. And third market we serve is one we've been in for many, many years. It's aerospace and defense. Specifically for us these days, it's high frequency RF applications in radar systems and missile electronics. Anything associated with EW is basically our marketplace.
Thanks. So you discussed your capability in RF. Can you discuss specifically what your key skill sets are within RF and why that makes you well placed to address the markets that you serve?
Yeah, so we've been around a long time. We've been 40 plus years in this business. And I think we're recognized very much for being subject matter experts in RF. And more specifically, RF design and the associated manufacturing. These are skills and expertise that are hard to find in an increasingly digital world. And we are blessed with some very, very competent design engineers and manufacturing engineers. And of course, RF is a field of electronics which relies very much on accumulated knowledge and know-how. And very often this is skills that are now missing from some of the large OEMs. They simply don't have those people on staff anymore. And so they outsource RF design, front-end RF design, to subject matter experts like Filtronic. More specifically, we design right down to the critical semiconductor level. So we really have control of the core component technology, and that enables us to optimize our designs and create unique IP and very often best-in-class performance. Coupled with that, we have in-house manufacturing, which is unusual. There are standalone design companies, but very few have incorporate the in-house expertise to manufacture the devices, and the know-how and accumulated knowledge associated with that is a huge benefit. We work right across the RF spectrum, from kilohertz, megahertz through to millimeter wave at gigahertz, north of 100 gigahertz these days. And very often our limit is actually the limit of the RF technologies available. So as new semiconductor materials come online that enable higher frequencies, typically we're at the early stages of implementing that technology. And that's evidenced by our E-band transceivers, where we were first to the market almost 10 years ago now, and have an install base of over 50,000 transceivers worldwide.
So Filtronic, you're quite dependent on a number of key customer relationships. Can you discuss those and perhaps talk about how secure those relationships are and your strategy for progressing those relationships?
Yeah, we can't talk about individual customers, but certainly in two of our core markets, the markets have very much consolidated, either through acquisition, merger, or indeed one provider having a leading edge technology which takes up the market share. So we are certainly proud to be aligned with key customers in each of the three markets we serve. That is a benefit because it gives us scale. These are the largest providers, gives us volume manufacturing, creates barriers to entry for other people. But more importantly for us, these big players, they understand the market, they know the direction the market is traveling in, and they can give us clear direction on technology roadmaps. Getting that input from a fragmented group of smaller customers would frankly be very challenging. So we've been working with these market leading companies for over a decade, and we have currently development programs running with these market leaders that really are positioning us for the next generation of technologies, some of which is 3 or 4 years away. But it very much indicates there's a secure relationship there for the future. In terms of the relationships in telecoms, clearly there are 1 or 2 behemoths worldwide. We all know who they are. The opportunity now with Huawei being less favored as a supplier obviously gives opportunities for the remaining suppliers, and that's a benefit for us, quite frankly. In the public safety market, there is one large single player in the US with over 70% market share. We're a key provider to that supplier, and we have the benefit of assembling our products in North America at a time when Chinese vendors are less favored, and a good part of that public safety market has actually Chinese vendors part of it. So again, we see that as the McCain Act being working in our favor there. And finally, on the aerospace and defense market, that one is there's a much wider, more diverse customer base, obviously. But each of the EW disciplines is dominated by a major player, and we're delighted to be partnered with that player. And actually, the UK is very strong in defense technology. So again, we're positioned well on that with both our design and, importantly, UK manufacturing, because of course, aerospace and particularly defense wants a sovereign capability. And
then looking beyond those relationships, can you talk about your strategy for diversifying your customer relationships and any successes that you might have had in that regard?
Yeah, so it's something we've been talking about for a while. We're keen to do that, but I would preface that by saying it's time consuming bringing on new customers and quite expensive, and so we're always looking to deepen our existing relationships particularly with the market leading companies. So it's obviously the most secure way often to get future revenues. But one thing we have noticed is that the hybrid manufacturing capacity that we have here, it's a capability we built a couple of years ago to support our telecoms and our defense customers. It really is state of the art. There is a need for that capability outside of the customers that we serve today, and actually outside of the markets that we serve today. So the oil and gas is a large consumer of hybrids. The aerospace and defense market, obviously, the medical market is a consumer of hybrids. And we have a proven UK capability that can handle pretty high density of individual components at any one time. So we've located and brought on board one customer that we'll see come on in volume next year, that is actually using our manufacturing services specifically, rather than our design capability. We're taking their design. In terms of broadening the customer base, the most diverse market, as I said, is aerospace and defense. So that's the area that we are really focusing on. We're encouraged by the fact that the UK government is investing in the defense market. They came out ahead of the budget with an increased defense spend, and that's over the next 3 to 4 years. And that is already funding for us 2 significant defense development programs, which actually allow us to move up the value chain. The ultimate end customer will be the MOD, but it allows us to move up the value chain and provide more of our design expertise. So we're pleased with that. And also, again, it's the MOD, but DSTL has a real push at the moment to try and bring in private industry into the defense marketplace. And it's ideal for a company like ours. We've got UK design, UK manufacturing. And in December of last year, we announced our first contract win under that DSTL program, which was £1 million+ to develop battlefield communication systems. And that's indicative of where we see there is potential for future engagements with new customers under the aerospace and defense market.
Thanks. And then looking perhaps beyond your core current markets, are there any new application areas that you're working on? And if you could give us an idea of the timescales towards commercialization, that would be very helpful.
Yes, of course. So, well, if you set out your stall to do innovative work and enable the future of RF technology, which is what we try and advertise, then you're going to get a lot of interesting inquiries. The challenge for us is to find not just the interesting technical challenges, but the ones that make good business sense. So there's a few that we've settled on at the moment, and one of them is test and measurement. It's adjacent to the telecoms market that we already serve, but if people are developing the next generation telecoms equipment, they need high frequency test equipment. And that requires the test instrument manufacturers to design high frequency RF front ends, and that is our area of expertise. So we're focused on that. We've got products in design that will roll out in the next 12 months into low run rate production. So that is a near-term market for us. Another advantage of RF is low latency. And there are certain markets which absolutely need higher access to data than you can achieve over the standard telecoms network. So for them, low latency is something they will pay for. And last year, we had 2 specific orders that were associated with high frequency trading. So these are private telecom networks where the banking infrastructure is owned by the user, and they need and they get from us extremely low latency RF data links and transceivers. Track to train is one that we've been talking about for a couple of years because we started trials outside of Europe 3 years ago. Those trials are completed, and we successfully demonstrated E-band technology as a track to train solution, providing 10 megabits of data to the user in the carriage. And UK trials have just started. So we are part of those trials and providing technology that actually is very similar to the technology we provide for the telecom networks, but adapted for use in the train. I would say that's a medium-term opportunity because the technology, we are very confident the technology can work, but there are a number of people that need to come together to make that a market opportunity, not least of which the licensing authorities, the train operators, the track operators, and with the best will in the world, that always takes some time. So, but the technology will certainly be thoroughly demonstrated by the end of this year. And then finally, a very interesting market and one where we've engaged with some some interesting companies is in the HAPS and LEO space. So this is high altitude pseudo satellites or low Earth orbit satellites for telecom use. And we don't really differentiate. The technology is similar for us, but obviously the challenges of putting something in low Earth orbit require focus on radiation tolerance, whereas if you're in the stratosphere, that's less important. But as I say, we've engaged with a couple of companies where we have proven the communications technology. The business case has yet to materialize, and there's still work going on around the avionics solution, whether it's a balloon or a glider or a solar powered glider, is all up for some debate. So we took a decision to join the HAPS Alliance as a smaller player. There are some big name companies on there, and just monitor that situation. It's a 3 to 5 year development. We have the payload technology available, I would say, today. There are other things to be resolved before that becomes a business ready opportunity.
Thank you. And then finally, can you discuss your sales and marketing strategy, the strategy that you are putting in place to grow revenues across each of your markets and geographical areas?
Yeah, of course we've come through the pandemic pretty well. I mean, we were operational 24/7, and we didn't miss a beat in terms of customer deliveries and delivery of engineering programs. But the frustration for us has actually been not being able to get out and visit customers and have our business development people engage with trade shows. Typically we do a lot of technical conferences, which we weren't able to do. And we weren't able to bring customers on site. And the real benefit for us and our customers is when they can visit our site, engage with our engineers, and then really develop solutions from that conversation. So that's been extremely frustrating. We're going to redouble our efforts in the coming financial year around that area. As soon as we can, we'll get people traveling and engaging with customers, and of course open our doors here. We have a great brand. I mean, it's as I said, we've been around 40 plus years. Filtronic is a terrific brand. In some cases it's recognized, but people don't know why they recognize it. So we're spending quite a lot of effort to promote our brand, to raise the profile. We're changing the website, the look and feel of it, but also the background technology of the website, so we can have much richer content. People have started to notice that our social media presence is much increased. Our investor relations content likewise, and a lot of technical papers have been published over the last 12 months, and we're going to continue that effort. So effort goes into marketing, communications, and our sales methodology that's associated with that. We're also putting money and investing in expanding the sales channels. In North America, we're going with a rep channel. We'll end this year with 4 reps in place, covering the 4 regions of the US. And that's a deliberate attempt to try and cover the 200 or so telecom system design engineers that specify public safety systems. They've been operating in their home offices over the last 12 months, and if we sit in front of them and sit with them, we can influence that design in favor of our products. So there's a pretty straight line there to increasing our revenue by increasing our sales channel. And then in Europe, we're going to double down on our sales effort in the UK, because we think there is defense opportunity, and also in Southern and Central Europe, where again, we are actively hiring sales personnel. Great,
thank you. And you've just announced that you've won a Queen's Award. Can you tell us about that and the importance that could make for your business?
We have, Dan, and yes, we literally in the last 24 hours. So we're very pleased to hear that. It's an award for enterprise, particularly export sales, and it's associated with our broadband business, where we managed to ramp up E-band transceivers ahead of a rollout of 5G technology, from a standing start to very high production volumes. And those were shipped to a number of places around the world. So it's really in recognition of that effort, but it's an award, I would say, it goes beyond a single year of export sales. It's a recognition of our position in the UK as a trusted provider of technology, and it's a very prestigious award. And really, we are delighted to be a flag carrier for that. We get to use the Queen's Award emblem for the next 5 years, and we're part of an exclusive network, an exclusive club, and we'll be promoting this. It's all relatively new, but we'll be promoting this over the coming months.
Perfect. Richard, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Dan.